Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Now that we've got to experience the second weekend of the MW3 beta across all platforms, we've obviously gathered even more information, even more details about how this game is going to feel and how it's going to play. And I gotta say, even just going from beta weekend 1 into beta weekend 2, there were a lot of noticeable improvements in terms of how the game felt for me personally, going from PlayStation 5 to PC, how certain changes in game felt, like some of the adjustments to weapons like the striker, the slide cancel delay and whatnot. We already saw some decent updates, but going into launch, we're going to see even more, obviously. But being that this is the final time we'll get to experience Modern Warfare 3 before the game is fully launched, I did want to once again revisit some of my main concerns with the game, some things that really stood out to me, and ultimately what Modern Warfare 3 kind of exposed about Call of Duty, which is, well, rough, I feel like is a word that I would use to describe it. As we get into the details, if you enjoy the video at all, do me a favor, drop a like on it. It would be seriously appreciated. Much love to everyone who does take the time to do so. And if you're new to the channel or you simply haven't subscribed yet, we are on the road to 1 million subs, and every single day I got you covered with all things going on between MW3 and Warzone right as they happen, so feel free to hit that subscribe button to always stay up to date. Now, initially, just to recap some of what I'm continuing to enjoy about MW3, if you caught my initial feedback and reaction and review video of multiplayer, it's going to be largely the same, if not better, for this weekend. The movement still feels very good in my opinion. I'm loving these slide cancel mechanics and what's introduced there between tack stance and the ability to slide while you're ADSing and just play more aggressive overall as opposed to what MW2 and Warzone have been for the past year. I think most people consider Modern Warfare 2019 and Warzone 1 to be that peak movement with the broken slide cancel and tack sprint reset and the insane B-hopping mechanics, and MW3 is not that one-to-one, but it's definitely a major step forward, and I feel like it's going to continue to evolve as we get into launch and have more feedback there as well. And obviously everything from the beta is taken into consideration for those day one updates, which hopefully is going to be good news considering they've already listened to a lot of what we had to say there and adjusted things accordingly. So movement is still feeling great. The maps I'm still enjoying for the most part. The new ground war stuff outside of the dev error issues, those were definitely enjoyable as well. High Rise in particular, I felt played really well with the movement mechanics of modern day COD as opposed to MW2 2009. The audio with enemy footsteps and being able to actually hear those definitively in game and be able to tell where people are moving, fantastic. Weapons still feeling good too. Low visual recoil, very straightforward and actually versatile this year as opposed to MW2 where weapons are very one-dimensional in my opinion. Overall, I just feel like they turned things around a lot, and I'll talk a little bit more on what's really curious about that and what's kind of weird about that towards the end of the video. But obviously the main things that they're looking for with the beta is your concerns, things you don't like so that they can adjust those. So I want to spend a bit more time focusing on some of the drawbacks, some of the negatives, or some of the cons of MW3 thus far. Even throughout weekend 2, the spawn system by far for multiplayer is the worst part about the game, which I guess is a good thing. If the spawns are the #1 problem, that means some of the other more outstanding things have been resolved to a certain extent. But regardless of what mode you are playing, domination, TDM, the spawns are bad. They are somewhat predictable, but also so inconsistent that it's hard to have a recognizable pattern, even if you're holding certain choke points, if you're anchoring certain parts of the map. Too many times are you spawning in no man's land or spawning right next to enemies, or you're looking in a certain area and enemies are popping up in front of you, which, hey, I'll take the free kills, but I know karma's going to come back around and it's going to happen to me in a annoying situation too. So the spawns need a lot of work. Thankfully, Sledge was really good at adapting to the spawn issues within Vanguard, and they really had them very strong throughout the end of Vanguard, I would say. So I have faith that they'll be able to adjust those accordingly, hopefully in time for launch, so that the spawn system is a little bit more forgiving and less obnoxious than it is right now. Something that they've actually already confirmed is going to be updated is teammate audio, particularly teammate footsteps. This is on the Trello already as something that will be updated for launch. So you're not going to hear the super loud stomping of your teammates next to you thinking it's going to be an enemy, and then you turn to, you know, get that quick kill and it's your buddy who you didn't realize was right next to you. So the teammate footstep audio definitely a little bit too loud for my liking, but we know that's going to be adjusted, so that's good news there. This is a simple one. Top right, when you're going on streaks, when you're calling in streaks, things like that, I want to see calling cards pop up. Give an actual meaning to calling cards and emblems. It's cool that you can see them in the pregame lobby, but not having any recognizability to your name in game when you're doing well, I feel like is a bit boring. We have the calling cards. You work to grind out some of them. You might as well be able to show them off in as many different ways as possible. That was an old feature in COD. I feel like that should return. This was something that I actually brought up, another small thing, but I feel like it would go a long ways in my initial review. A kill counter in game, so you can tell what streak you're on in any given life. So you get a kill in the bottom, it pops up. 1 kill streak. You go on a 10, it shows you that you're on that 10 kill streak. It's easier to track your own personal, achievements game to game with that, and makes it a little bit less hectic than having to check the scoreboard. Okay, I'm on a 24. I really got to, focus up here. Oh, and I'm dead because I was looking at the scoreboard and not the map because I didn't know what kind of streak I was on. So another small thing, but I feel like it could go a long ways. And then this is something I guess we really just have to wait for launch to see how it plays. But currently with the TTK that I love, that'd be another thing I should mention in my positive side of things. I really like the TTK. But the regen time, on the other hand, is rough. It just seems like with this TTK, waiting on regen is often the, reason for your demise in certain engagements. But with the full launch of the game, we could have a quick fix like perk or equipment. We could have stim shots in the game. We know for a fact stims are going to be in the game. I'm just hoping that they do adjust the regen to a certain extent so that stims and or quick fix are not crutch items that you have to run on every class setup if you want to play the game aggressively, because I could see that being the case just with how regen functions in a game like this. With this movement and with this TTK, it limits your ability to stay alive in certain fights where otherwise you would be able to make an outplay in a certain engagement because of third-party factors, whether that is quick fix or stims or faster regen that's altered from the current state that it's in. So those are my main drawbacks, my main cons. Like I said, for the most part, similar to weekend 1, but there are a few things I wanted to add on there. But ultimately, what I got out of my weekend 1 experience and definitely my weekend 2 experience is that Modern Warfare 3 absolutely just exposed that Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2 were a year to forget. One of the big things that you guys know if you watch the videos, consistently, I haven't necessarily agreed with is this whole statement that MW3 is a DLC. Objectively and respectfully, I would have to disagree because this game is launching with the same amount of stuff that every other COD game is launching with. It's got a new campaign, it's got a new multiplayer in terms of weapons and the experience. Obviously, the maps aren't fully new, but I digress. It's got a new co-op experience. It's going to have new post-launch content that's already doing better and confirmed to be more unique than MW2's post-launch content. So for the price tag, what you're getting out of the entire game, not just one experience specifically, I feel like it's not, ideal to call it a DLC because I don't feel like that's what it is. But more than MW3 being a DLC, MW2 was just a beta and an expensive one at that. Like, truthfully, I wholeheartedly feel like MW2 was a $70 beta or $100 beta if you bought the Vault edition of it, because it seemed like they were just testing what they could change in COD and see how people would react. And then when there was negative reactions, and we know that all throughout MW2, from literally the point at COD Next when it was revealed all the way up until today, the negative reactions have not really been met with positive improvement in terms of gameplay and changes. The reception from the devs has not been anywhere near what it's been already for MW3. A lot of the feedback initially with weekend 1 was, hey, the delay is not great. Hey, this isn't great. That's not great. And Sledge is like, okay, it's on the Trello board. We're investigating it. Or, hey, we've already got a fix out for it. MW2 and Warzone 2 just felt like such an awkward year of they didn't really have a vision, or they had one and then nobody liked it, but they didn't want to alter from their initial vision. And I mean, power to Infinity Ward, they stuck with what they wanted, but ultimately, obviously, it did not resonate as well as some of the previous CODs have, and the numbers sort of back that up, which is unfortunate. Obviously, I want to see COD do well. I like when people enjoy COD because I want to enjoy COD, and most of the time, what you guys dislike, I dislike too. And ultimately, MW2 was a year that we really just spent in limbo of, man, I wish they would fix this. Oh, they still haven't fixed this. They've known about this for a long time. They still haven't fixed this. Oh, hey, they fixed this though, and then it breaks something else, right? So that was just a rough year in general. MW3 certainly seems to be 180ing everything that was wrong with MW2 and rebalancing it, bringing things back to where they should be. And it's really feeling like the game we should have got with MW2. So I totally understand the concept of feeling a bit burned by MW2 and feeling like, man, I just spent $70 on that game. It sucked last year. I'm not sure I want to do it again this year, which is definitely, a crummy situation. But ultimately, I feel like MW3 is a game that's going to trend in the right direction. It already is trending in the right direction, and it's going to continue on that track if Sledgehammer doesn't do some wildly strange stuff, which I don't expect them to, and divert course. So MW3's exposed MW2 for just being an absolute strange game. Take that thing from Men in Black, you flash the light, we all forget. MW2 just didn't happen, right? That's the end game there for that. But yeah, hopefully launch is as well received as what we've seen so far in the beta. Hopefully they make the appropriate changes for it. Overall though, I'm anticipating it. I'm looking forward to it. I've got high expectations now that we've seen good communication and good feedback response from the devs. It's just got to continue, and that's my main thing. If they divert course, things might get worse. We'll have to wait and see. With that said, that is going to wrap things up for this one. If you enjoyed the video, do me a favor, drop a like on it. It would be seriously appreciated. And if you're new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button on your way out. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy. Have an awesome rest of your day. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.